その後も客席でも動かないで。はい。なんか緑か黄色の、それ首に下げてもらっていいですか。はい。
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome speaker. And there will be a couple questions today.写真撮る方どうぞ。1分ぐらいで。受け欲しい方ちょっと手挙げてくださると
こちらお願いします。ありがとうございます。お願いします。
この辺でいかがでしょうか。
お願いします。
この辺でよろしいでしょうか。この辺でじゃあよろしいでしょうか。じゃあ後ろの方たちそのまま後ろ下がっていただけますでしょうか。そのまま後ろの方そのまま後方の方からお写真お願いいたします。後ろドア閉まりますか。閉まらないですか。じゃあシャークさんお願いします。
Okay.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the FCCJ. My name is Andy Sharp. I work at Nikkei Asia. I'm very happy today to welcome the Prime Minister of Ukraine, ΔenисШmyhal. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Of course, we're coming to nearly 2 years now since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And this week, there has been a Japan-Ukraine reconstruction conference here in Tokyo. A lot of Japanese companies have pledged to help reconstruct Ukraine, support the rebuilding of a country, and the many pledges from the governments as well. So there's been a lot going on this week, and there's a lot to talk about. So the Prime Minister will talk about perhaps this issue and the situation back in Ukraine for 15 minutes or so, and then we will open the floor to questions. And alongside the Prime Minister is the Press Secretary. So can I get your name, please?
My name is Olga. I'm Press Secretary for the Prime Minister. Hello, dear colleague.
Okay, so without further ado, the Prime Minister will make his opening remarks, and then we'll go to some questions. Thank you.
So, dear colleagues, let's start. Prime Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear journalists, dear colleagues, first of all, I sincerely thank the Japanese people, the government of Japan, and personally Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for their hospitality and productive work during the visit of the Ukrainian delegation to the land of the rising sun. Since the Russian full-scale invasion, Japan has taken a leading role in supporting Ukraine. This includes macro-financial assistance, participation in the restoration of the energy sector, healthcare, education, mine clearance, non-lethal military assistance, strong sanctions against Russia, and much, much more. How we are moving to a new level of cooperation to achieve a common result. Ukraine's victory, a just peace and security on all continents and in all parts of the world. The Ukrainian delegation to Japan had an extremely intensive program during this visit. The key event was a conference for promotion of economic growth and reconstruction. It was attended by representatives of business circles of both countries, government officials, representatives of our regions. We see great interest from the business community in launching and implementing new projects in Ukraine. I'm sure Japan will become one of the leaders in economic recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. Japan will continue to support Ukraine. 56 documents of different levels were signed during our visit to Japan and during yesterday's conference. Let me focus on the most important ones. An intergovernmental agreement for the elimination of double taxation has been concluded. In particular, it limits the taxation of dividends, interests, and royalties. Tax information will also be exchanged between Ukraine and Japan. It was agreed that Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, will provide a grant for the implementation of the Emergency Recovery Program. The amount of this grant is 15.8 billion Japanese yen, which is over $100 million US. The fund will be used to rebuild the energy sector, the transport sector, and for humanitarian demining. Together with Japanese business, it's very important that it will be cooperation and this will be synergy of businesses. The Ukrainian Ministry of Agrarian Policy has signed a number of documents with Japanese companies that produce agricultural machinery. We are talking about the provision of different agricultural equipment and irrigation technologies to Ukraine. The Japan Urban Renaissance Agency will help to rebuild our destroyed towns and villages. This includes a wide range of technical cooperation. The Japan Water Agency will help restore the dams destroyed by Russia. Japan has vast experience in this area, which will be studied and adopted there in Ukraine. IHI Corporation will help build a strategically important bridge across the Danube River and a bridge across the Dniester estuary. This will facilitate further development of logistics in the southwestern direction there in Ukraine. A memorandum of cooperation was signed with the Japan External Trade Organization, JETRO, to help Ukrainian producers enter the Japanese market. JETRO and the EBRD will also promote cooperation to facilitate interaction between Ukrainian small and medium-sized enterprises and Japanese companies. The Japanese Export and Investment Insurance Agency, NEXI, will open credit lines for investment and export to Ukraine. Especially, Japan will allocate more than 1.2 billion euros for ensuring investments in Ukraine against war risk, creating a cumulative effect. So it's crucially important for us to ensure war risks. All investors ask for this, and this is very important and crucial for us. The Japan Bank for International Cooperation will provide a $150 million loan to support Ukrainian business recovery projects through the Black Sea Trade and Development Bank. I am sincerely grateful to the Japanese government, the business community, and all those involved in our dialogue. Thank you for our constructive approach, your solidarity, and your willingness to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine. I once again would like to thank personally to Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for his leadership in supporting Ukraine. We know that Japan is always by our side, that the Japanese people believe in our victory and help to bring it closer. We are now working to rebuild Ukraine and create conditions for a Ukrainian economic miracle. I believe that Ukraine and Japan will continue to open new horizons of partnership for the benefit of our peoples, both our peoples. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prime Minister. So we'll start with Jesse, please. And when you ask a question, please clearly state your name and affiliation, please.
Hello, thank you for doing this. Jesse Johnson with the Japan Times. I have two quick questions for you. First, Prime Minister Kishida has repeatedly stressed the need to support Kyiv by saying that Ukraine today could be East Asia tomorrow. And in an interview with Japanese media that was published today, you said that if Ukraine does not win the war, it will spill over to other countries and that other states will see this as a precedent, and many more wars will erupt around the world. I'm wondering if you conveyed this message to Prime Minister Kishida and other officials in your meetings. And then my second question is, it's said that in the US and Europe, there's a kind of Ukraine fatigue. I'm wondering, well, this hasn't really appeared to hit Japan yet, but how do you intend to combat this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I should say that now we are very close to the second anniversary of beginning full-scale aggression in Ukraine from Russia's side. But yesterday, it was 10 years since the beginning of occupation of Crimea and Sevastopol city. So 10 years we are in war with Russia. Russia begins this unprovoked aggression, brutal aggression against Ukraine. We have solidarity and support from all around the world, from Japan especially. For today, Japan is third supporter of Ukraine if take all amount for these 2 years of unprovoked aggression, full-scale aggression from Russia. And we fighting for our homes, for our lives. We have support all civilized world, and it's crucially important to win this war. Why? Because Ukraine is fighting not only for our lives and homes and families. We are fighting for democratic values of all democratic world. And this is essential war, existential war, democracy against autocracy. And result of this war will demonstrate to all possible potential aggressors, may they begin such kind of wars all around the world, or no? If civilized world will be united, will be strong, so this war, Russia should lose this war to demonstrate all the rest potential aggressors that today in 21st century this is impossible to make these unprovoked aggressions and to achieve results. Because of this, we discuss this issue with all the leaders, and we emphasize that Ukraine should win, and it will have influence on global security order, which we all together should save. The second part of your question about fatigue all around the world. So I should say that Ukrainian society is tired because of this war, but is absolutely not fatigued. We will continue our fight. We have support from all around the world. We have support from European Union. Now we have approved program on the 4 years for the 50 billion euros for the next 4 years, direct budget support plus grants and projects for recovery. We have IMF program, which is continuing in Ukraine for the 4 years. Total amount of this program is $15.6 billion. But in general, G7 countries guaranteed to IMF support of Ukraine in amount $122 billion for the next 4 years in all spheres. Now we cooperate with USA, and we have support, first step, support of their Senate. So now we are waiting for support of their Congress in 2 weeks after this short period when they do not work. And I believe that United States will support Ukraine also, such like European Union, such like Japan, such like all the G7 countries and IMF and all international financial organizations. So I shouldn't tell, and we can't speak about fatigue, because it's existential war. You can't be fatigued when you are fighting for your future, for your life, for our mutual security world and world global security order. This is my answer, actually. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll come here, then we'll go to Tim, yep. And then to George, yep. And then we'll try to get around here.
Thank you, Nishimura, freelance. Thank you very much. My question is related to the previous question. A lot of things happened in these 2 years. The nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia is occupied by Russia, and the war between Hamas and Israel started in Palestine. So my question is, how likely do you think this war is going to be the Third World War? How likely do you think the European countries involved in this war in Ukraine in the future? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So you're right. This war changed many things in our world. So I couldn't even imagine that in 21st century, such kind of brutal war, barbaric aggression, these war atrocities are possible on European continent. So it was impossible even to imagine, but it happens. It means that we should work hard to strengthening world security order and to save this. And the main issue, the main goal of all of us should be to stay united in fighting against this aggression. All the European countries support Ukraine now, and I will repeat, European Union continue finance us, continue support us in military sphere, continue political support in all international platforms, including UN platform. So I believe that Europe will continue support Ukraine, because if Ukraine will fall, so next countries it will be European countries. I have no doubt. This new potential of new wars is increasing proportionally of successes of Russians and Putin in Ukraine. So the more success Russian will have in Ukraine, then more conflicts and wars all around the world we will see in future. So because of this, it's crucially important to finish this war, to liberate all of our territories, to bring back our territories in the borders as on 1991, to restore our sovereignty and territorial integrity. All of these words and all of these things are crucially important, I will repeat, to save global security order, global security system. Actually, let me also emphasize this what you mentioned, occupation of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station. First time in our history, country, in fact, terrorize all of the world by nuclear, by occupation of nuclear object. And there is a technical mission of IAEA, but they can't control all of the territory. They control only the storages of nuclear fuel. And we see the tremendous risks for all of us, for European continent, because Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station is the biggest nuclear object on the European continent. 6 gigawatts of nuclear energy, 6 blocks, 6 units. Now is under occupation, is under artillery shelling. Not technical engineers and specialists, but military persons are staying there on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station. And actually, number one point of peace formula of President Zelensky, President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, actually is about the occupation, the militarization of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to make all these nuclear risks much, much lower. Ukraine and Japan both are two countries which survive through the nuclear catastrophes. And we, as no one else in this world, understand this danger of nuclear blackmailing from Russia's side. So because of this, we ask for the sanctions against Rosatom, against Russia. We ask to push them to the execution of the first step of the peaceful formula of President of Ukraine. Thank you for your question.
All right, Tim, please. Then we'll come up here, then here.
Tim Kelly from Reuters. Thank you for making the time to speak to us today. In the wake of the death of the Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, the EU has talked about specific new penalties against Russia. And President Biden said that his death reminds the world of the stakes over Russia. And he also said he talked about the importance of providing funding for Ukraine. Do you think, well, firstly, what specific new penalties would you like the EU to impose on Russia? And for the funding that's now passed the Senate and is in the lower house, do you think Navalny's death may help that funding package to get through Congress and for the money to get to Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So what should I say? That Russia is a terrorist country and Putin's regime now is terrorist regime. And sanctions and penalties against Russia now are implemented, and we ask for continuing implementation of the next sanction packages. I should emphasize that Japan implement 22 sanction packages against Russian economy and against Russia. European Union implement 12 sanctions packages, and we are waiting for 13 in European Union, and we ask for 23rd from Japan side to implementation. We ask implement this sanction as on economical issues, in economical spheres, so and in political spheres on the personalities which are personally involved in the aggression of Russia and in this in killings of people. So death of Mr. Navalny is one of the killings among all dozens of thousands Russians which now are dying in Ukraine. And from my point of view, this is payment for the next elections, so named elections of Putin in Russia. So just Russians just pay their price for these elections. And I think that this demonstrates and loudly demonstrates how terrible is autocratic and terroristic Putin's regime in Russia. So this is actually my answer. Thank you.
Okay, George.
My name is Baumgartner. I'm working for Swiss television. Thank you for defending Europe. You are facing a very difficult situation, running out of ammunition on the front line. Is it because until now the EU, the Americans have refused to provide you with the weapons you need to win the war against Putin? And will you get these weapons? And regarding Kishida, as my colleague says, he keeps saying what happens in Ukraine can happen in East Asia. So have you asked Kishida to give you not only water purifiers, but also weapons or military equipment? Because I think you get also some weapons in a discreet way from South Korea. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Since the beginning of the full-scale aggression 2 years ago, we have support from United States, from European Union, from other countries, not only with financial, humanitarian, economical, energy support, but and first of all, for us is important military support. Now the situation in Ukraine is absolutely another than it was 2 years ago. We have all existing air defense systems there in Ukraine. We need more, but Kyiv is more or less protected because of this. I invite you all to visit Kyiv, to visit Ukraine. It's more or less secure. We have modern equipment, modern military equipment according to NATO standards. We are fighting according to NATO standards. We are training our soldiers according to NATO standards, and European countries, United States, are supporting us absolutely. Unfortunately, now we have deficit and we have lack of artillery ammunition, and it's objective reasons because European producers, American producers now only increase their production capacities to supply such kind of munition to Ukraine. We ask our partners to supply to us long-range military equipment as artillery, and long-range missiles to reach Russian logistics, to cut them logistic ways, and to have this privilege on the front line. We ask also to send us F-16 fighters. We are waiting for this year because it let us to take privation of Russia in the air. Unfortunately, now they prevail in the air, and unfortunately, this leads to some consequences on the front line. But I should say that we have no refuses from our partners to supply military equipment to Ukraine. About our relations with Japan and our conversations with His Excellency Prime Minister Kishida, I should say that we respect Japanese constitution, and we know that Japan never supply military equipment to no one in this world, but it was unprecedented decision to supply to Ukraine non-lethal equipment for protection. So actually protect our soldiers, and we so much appreciate this because it was really unprecedented. So having this all of these conditions, we will appreciate supplying of defense equipment for Ukraine, non-lethal equipment from Japan, and we ask our partners in United States, in European Union, in other countries which can support us by military equipment, we ask to give this to Ukraine to protect democratic values, to protect Europe from this terroristic regime. Thank you.
The public broadcaster of Ukraine. So if there are any progress in concluding the security agreements with Japan, because, you know, during the Vilnius summit, all the G7 states were committed to make that. And one more, I take this opportunity, how will Ukraine respond to the intention of Polish farmers to completely block the border between our countries, and if there are any negotiations about this issue with European Commission? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the second part?
About Polish farmers. So how will Ukraine respond to the intention of Polish farmers to completely block our border? Maybe you have any negotiations with European Commission to deal with this. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. So, thank you. You asked question and partially answered to your question. In Vilnius, during NATO summit, G7 countries agreed to give Ukraine some security assurances or security guarantees. So, number one agreement about security assurances is signed with United Kingdom. It is number one, I would say, like good example agreement for security assurances. Last week, President Zelensky signed next two agreements with security assurances for Ukraine with Germany and with France. So now we are working hard with all other G7 countries, including Japan, to sign such kind agreements for security assurances, which will include military support, financial support during this war, and after this war will finish, in case of the new aggression from Russia side, G7 countries and other countries, partners which will join to this declaration, which will sign the same agreements, will also give Ukraine very fast support in case of new aggressions. I mean financial, military and other support, technological, with training our soldiers. So all of this is included into the this guarantee assurances. About second part of your question, so we have a period when we are moving very fast with European integration. So this is our existential choice to be part of European Union, to be part of NATO, to be part of OECD. So we work hard to join to OECD, to European Union. We move very fast toward European Union. And now we are in the stage of negotiations about our membership. So this is the last one step before the actually membership. And during these negotiations, we will negotiate and agree about all economical trading and other issues. Now there is some protests in Europe and especially in Poland from side of farmers because of some reasons, because of the subsidies from European budget, because of the some part of the markets. I should say, and I communicate this with our Polish friends, that we should take a look on the import of grain and the import of agri-production from Russia to the European Union. So it's still high volume and it continues increases. So I emphasized and I call of European politicians to take a look, and Polish politicians to take a look on the increasing Russian import into European Union of agricultural and grain production. And also from the third countries. So there is enough place for all of us, and especially for Ukraine, to trade by grain and food production on the European market. But we discussed this with our Japanese colleagues. there is enough markets all around the world where Ukraine traditionally were big players. Now, thanking to our defense forces, we liberate Black Sea, we destroy and damage 25 of Russian warships, and we may use Black Sea as a corridor for our export. And now the most volume, more than 90%, is exported through the Black Sea, not to the European countries, but to the traditional markets, to the Asia, to the Africa. And I think that this tension which were among the European farmers now should be much, much less. And today will work coordination platform in the European Commission. I believe that it will bring result and make situation much, much quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see that we have a lot of questions from Japanese media.
Okay. This gentleman here, and then this lady.
Thank you. My name is Hirofumi from Nikkei. I have two questions. The first one is, what is the reaction to the Japanese government's partial relaxation of travel restrictions to Ukraine? Are you prepared to welcome Japanese government officials and businessmen in Kyiv? And the second one is that Prime Minister Fumio Kishida announced that he's going to ease visa requirements for Ukraine businessmen when they visit to Japan. And are they coming to Japan and learn from Japanese reconstruction process and apply it to Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are waiting. We are waiting Japanese businessmen in Kyiv, in Ukraine. I will repeat, I invite everyone who is here to visit Ukraine and Kyiv. So relatively, Kyiv is secure, and the west part of Ukraine is more or less secure too. And now Japanese business, as we can see, is very interested to continue cooperation with Ukraine, not only invest into Ukraine, but also cooperate in trading sphere, in technologies, in sharing your experience. Japan has great experience in liquidation of consequences of big catastrophe. So for Ukraine, this experience, is now invaluable, and we really wish cooperate with Japanese businesses, with construction companies, with high technological companies to implement all of your experience, all of your knowledges, all of your technology there in Ukraine. And thank you for your second part of question. Yes, yesterday we have negotiations, and we have agreed with your Prime Minister Fumio Kishida about less barriers for visa for Ukrainian businessmen and for Ukrainian people. So I think that we will reach this visa liberalization nearest time. Now we are in negotiations, and I believe that it will make better conditions for cooperation between our businesses, for sharing of experience, which is invaluable for us, for sharing technologies, and for creating of mutual enterprises, which will bring benefits to both our countries. I will repeat that we are united in defense of Ukraine. We should be united in recovery of Ukraine. Recovery of Ukraine will the biggest ever project on European continent. According to World Bank assessment, $486 billion we will need to recover this all what Russia destroyed and damaged now in Ukraine. So now we are preparing for this big project of recovery of my country immediately after this war, and even during this war we need 15 billion for rapid recovery, and we continue this work. So we are strongly welcoming Japanese company to join to this big projects, recovery of infrastructure my country, recovery of economic of my country, and I believe that it will be very, very mutually beneficial. Thank you.
Yes, this lady. So you can be next, yeah.
My name is Tomoko Igarashi from Mainichi newspapers. Thank you very much for your time today. I have two questions. my first question is about frontline situation. So it is reported that there is a difficulty to make breakthrough in the frontline. So what is important point or what is significant to make a breakthrough in the third year in this war? My second question is, it is also reported that even in Ukraine, some people are tired with the war, and some people don't want to become soldiers, and some people don't want to go frontline and fight. So what would be important to keep your country to be united? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your important and very actual questions. First of all, situation on the front line is the next. For the last 2 years after beginning of the full-scale aggression, Ukraine liberate 50% of occupied territories. So we move into ahead and continue liberation of our territories, and we will not stop. 50% is enough for 2 years against one of the biggest armies in the world. The second issue is that we destroy more than 18,000 heavy armored vehicles and equipment and techniques of Russian army. So we make their army much weaker. We destroy, as I told, 25 warships in the Black Sea, and in fact liberate Black Sea, and now we may use it like a sea corridor for our exports. So now the front line is stabilized. We continue defense operation of my country. Unfortunately, I will repeat, we have lack of artillery, especially long-range artillery ammunition. We have lack of long-range missile, and if and when we will have it, it will help us to cut logistics of Russian army and to make them much weaker. The second part of your question is about fatigue or about that people are tired. I will repeat, society is tired because of 2 years full-scale war. It's naturally when people are tired because it's danger every day. Civil people in Ukraine are dying, children are dying. So it's naturally when people are tired. But it's very important. We are not exhausted. We are not so we are ready to continue our defense of our country. We have a big army. We have support all around the world. We have support all civilized world. Now in Ukraine is all equipment of NATO countries, and we use NATO standards. And we are optimistic, and because of our defense operation, and we are optimistic in sense of liberty in this war. We understand that war against one of the biggest nuclear state is impossible to finish by a military way. We understand this, but we have intention to liberate our territories, and we have intention to finish this war on the diplomatic table. And only the way which we have seen is peace formula of President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. It's very clear, it's very simple, 10 points, very understandable for all of the people. First one is nuclear security, second is people's security, bringing back our kidnapped children. So all of these points of peaceful formula is very clear, food security, and so on, so on. So I believe that world community will support the peace formula, and during global peace forum, we will make enough pressure on Russia to stop this war and to finish this war in diplomatic way according to our peaceful formula. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last question, please.
Thank you very much. Kure from Freelancing. We have noticed since the replacement of General Zaluzhny that there had been dissatisfaction within the Ukrainian public about this act of even patriotic Ukrainians, they are having questions about this. This could be due to the fatigue that she just mentioned, and I wonder if you think this could be a dangerous situation for Ukraine in terms of keeping the Ukrainian people together, and how would the Ukrainian government deal with that?
It's not clear for me. What is the question?
The question is, do you think big acts of changing top-level people inside the ZSU will become a danger point for Russian propaganda that could potentially infiltrate the Ukrainian society? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, in general, Russian regime is the main reason of danger for Ukraine, for Europe, for all civilized world. And I'm sure that all the changes inside of Ukrainian defense forces are important detail, but this is not about politics. It's about military protection, and all these staff decisions belong to the internal conditions of President of Ukraine and defense forces of Ukraine. So I believe that all the changes will bring us better conditions on the front line and better conditions in our defense forces. Now the situation objectively, as we spoken about, is not so simple because of lack of artillery ammunition. So this is the number one reason. The second reason is prevailing of Russian forces in the air. So when we will have F-16 air jets, we will balance the situation on the battlefield, and it will be much easier for us. So these are the main dangers. So it's supplying of long-range artillery and missile equipment. If it will be stopped, if it will be delayed, so this is the main danger for us on the battlefield, I would say so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you for your attention. And Andy, dear colleagues, thank you for your assisting me. The press conference is over.
There you go. It's over. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Much appreciate you coming. Here is a free membership to the club. Please come in a time of peace, we hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear Andy,
You're
for
very
moderation.
welcome, and I hope to see you in a peaceful time again.
And thanks to you all. Arigato.
And could everyone remain seated, please, whilst the Prime Minister leaves? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Чтобы уже камера была, эта трансляция.
Хорошо?
Трансляция.
Не, я понял, просто что есть ссылочка.
Ну, ссылочка есть. Sorry, excuse me.